Craig Sullivan, the host, and today we're bringing you an exceptional program with a couple of industry leaders. We've got Miss Kate Berta on the far side of the screen from Kate Berta and Company, and we've got Dominic Cote from Kasawi in the middle of the screen. How are you both? Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Craig.
We're glad to be here.
Wonderful. So why don't you guys explain a little bit about what this program is going to be for our audience, and then we'll get into the questions.
Absolutely. You know, Craig, both Dominique and I, of course, we have our own consultancy firms, but both of us were practitioners and really led our commercial teams of sales, marketing, and pricing. And what we saw as when we were in organizations is this ability for our sales and marketing teams to come together to be even more effective as we're looking at the customer and having real customer centricity around how our disciplines show up around the customer. And we're going to talk about kind of a lot of the differentiators. But what we saw was so many conversations were happening in organizations about, you know, does sales go first, or is it marketing, or is it, you know, who's kind of on first? And what we say is the customer goes first, and how we really build in customer centricity to become more effective and relevant to those that matter most.
There you go. So, as you've just explained to the audience and to myself, we are talking about customer-led, team-enabled approach to account-based marketing. So, with that, what is the account-based marketing?
Oh, that's a great question, Craig. And I think one that is ramping up in terms of interest for sure. So account-based marketing is about, as Kate was saying, like, we're passionate about customer centricity. And it's about changing the mindset of marketing from an inside out. So let's look at our brand and our product and everything we have and push it out, to an outside in mindset. We're strong believers that customer centricity comes with the process of looking at how can you look at strategic account management and bring account-based marketing to the table by providing them the same, I would say, mindset of outside in, and bringing with, again, everything they have, but customized for a personalized way of really answering what matters most to our customers, and be part of that discussion, breaking the silos and being at the table with sales to be able to co-orchestrate that customer-centric approach.
You know, I love that. And, you know, more and more, especially during the pandemic, everybody's really become more of a digital nomad. Mm-hmm. So you've got to bring them together. And I've always been one, when I've working sales, it's always about the customer, the client, the guest being first. And as we all know, I think it's a little harder, you know, easier said than done to try and get different groups to break down those silos and work together. So, you know, we hear about digital marketing and how important it is. What is the difference between your client, your customer-led, team-enabled approach and digital marketing? I know digital marketing is going to be a part of it, but I think that's something that you guys need to define a little bit for the audience. No.
Well, again, a great question, because, you know, there's so much there's such a great advantage when we're looking at digital marketing and what can be done within digital marketing. I mean, today, large companies are hiring influencers and all of these wonderful things that are now at our disposal in this digital age. But here's where we kind of reorientate. A lot of times when we're having conversations with clients and they're talking about digital marketing, they're talking about how do we connect with customers? How do we share that message? How do we get it out there? Which is part of our methodology and our thinking, but we back it up and say, hey, listen, let's take a look and say, first of all, what is the customer going through? What's kind of their thinking? What's their journey? And based upon where that customer is, then we think about what is the messaging? we think about what should we be saying? What do we have inside our organizations within offering or value enablers or these types of things that make sense or are relevant to that customer doing? Then we look at what is the vehicle that's at our disposal within digital marketing to get that messaging out. So many times people talk about what they're doing in digital marketing and they'll put a lot of information out there. But if it's not showing up at the right time for the right customer, then it's just an activity versus really being customer centric and saying something of value to our customers that really is less about our product and our service and offering and more about what the customer is thinking and where they're at.
Yeah. And if I may,
that makes a lot of sense. And Dominique, you've been an industry leader and team builder for a long time. So I really want to hear a little bit more on this subject from your approach as well, please.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is, for me, I always smile when I hear what's the difference between marketing and digital marketing, because for me, it's the same thing. We need to stop differentiating the two. Marketing in today's environment with the data and everything we have is about digital marketing. So, and needs to be. So it's about kind of looking at all the data and with all the AI and everything we have in terms of access to information. Marketing is really, in today's environment, like I mentioned, about digital marketing. I think it's also, what is different is also about the role of the marketer at the table when we say account-based marketing. So it's to Kate was saying, is to look at the customer journey, being able to optimize that interaction and engagement from a commercial side, to really look at outside of this interaction, how can we optimize some of those point of communication throughout the customer journey? And bring more than only the product we have, because our organization have so much to offer and have so much ability to cater to what the customer needs. And a little bit in the analogy of the Lego block and building what we have to be more customized and to the needs of our customers, and bringing also more than brand enterprise and awareness campaign, but also bring a bit. What are some of the capabilities that we can add to the offer? Because they know their organization and they know some of what we call the value enablers to be able to bring and provide really broader value to what our customers are asking and needing.
I love it. And, earlier this year, I was going through some statistics in reference to, advertising in particular.
Mm-hmm.
In North America alone, we are bombarded between 3,000 and 10,000 ads every day. And I can't fathom that. Okay. I have a hard time with that. And they're spending well over $260 billion a year on that. And that number is going to grow by somewhere between 3 and 6% every year for the foreseeable future. So, point is, this has been around. Why? What makes you and what you're talking about a game changer and different from the rest of of a very crowded market that's out there?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you see those statistics, and we see some of the same ones, and here's the thing: companies need to be in this game, but there's so much information out there. We're really trying to clarify and put together a strategy so it makes it easy, giving simplicity on the other side of complexity, so to speak. So here's the game changer. Is that at the purest form, is that customer centric. We Dominique and I sit on a lot of calls with different companies with different offerings around account-based marketing and wonderful programs. And they're talking about how do we engage with our customer, but at the end of the day, what we see is companies showing up talking about their stuff. And I almost liken it to a really bad date. And I mean, how I mean that is in all of these emails that you get or all the marketing offerings that you have that you just talked about in those statistics, how many of those offerings, advertisements, are they are they showing up talking about themselves? And if I was on a date, I would be calling a friend and saying, hey, listen, I got to get out of here. So really what we're doing is we're shifting it and saying, let's be customer focused. Let's talk about that point of inspiration when someone goes from being unaware to being aware, and how do we connect with them through the whole journey to the point of sale, rather than just showing up at the point of sale in this very commoditized product and price driven conversation. How do we own more mind share at that point of inspiration, where all of a sudden we realize there's something better for us? And so that in itself just becomes the differentiator, showing up at the right time, in the point of view of the customer versus myself, and being with them along this journey, rather than showing up talking about ourselves.
And Dominique, I think you're one that's, in the limited time that we've gotten to know one another, my impression is that you do put the customer journey first, as Kate does. And what are a couple of the little, without giving away the secrets, what are a couple of the things that you do to get them both, your marketing and your salespeople engaged, and get those silos down so that they can work together and put the customer first?
So it's a great question, Craig. And yes, I've always been passionate about that customer journey and customer centricity, as both Kate and I have, and that's why we work together on this. But I think, as she mentioned, when you look at the way of bringing marketing, so a lot of organizations we talk to, they have a way of working with their marketing and a different way of working with their commercial team. And that connection between the two doesn't happen. And it's about time we break those silos and bring the two, marketing and account-based marketing, at the table with the commercial team to be able to work together. A way of connecting them is by looking at that customer journey from the point of inspiration to the decision making, where obviously the commercial team has interaction, but the ABM, account-based marketers, can enhance those point of communication and enhance the engagement by creating point of communication that are relevant to them. The second point is connected to what I just mentioned, to be relevant. So when you bring the two of them, commercial and marketing, in a way of how can we be relevant to the customer, then you bring them working together. And I would say it goes beyond sales and marketing. It's really the account team that is coming together with marketing and sales, co-orchestrating this, but bringing who they need to really kind of build that offering that's going to be really critical, relevant, and a little bit personalized to the account and the customers they're working with.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Kate, you had something?
Yeah, it's so interesting. In some of the work that we're doing to kind of shift people's thinking, what we see is marketing is waiting on sales to give them customer insights. Yeah. And sales is waiting on marketing to give them something relevant to bring to the customer. So we say, listen, rather than us either waiting or expecting the other person to go first, let's bring us all together, have one language that's customer centric to be able to build this. And what we find is that once teams kind of let go of their position or discipline, and we start building out that customer buying journey, what we find is it's kind of this ignition sequence where teams, we see this energy go up and they have all of these ideas, whereas before they were like tethered to what they had, what their role was.
Mm-hmm. So they're creating that mind share.
Yeah.
Close the loop on that. And they're caring about growing their customer and looking at the customer to bring together. And that's how you grow yourself in terms of your own organization. But if you care about growing your customer in a relevant manner and creating that mind share to pull that wallet share, as Kate was saying.
I couldn't agree more with you guys. And, creating that mind share and getting that silo down, when you see that happening, and all the light bulbs come on and everybody's going, okay, yeah, we are the same team. Yes, we can put the customer first, the client first, and move forward with them and create a great approach to their account-based marketing. And with that, I think we have to close part one of this. So we will be back with both Dominique and Kate for part two of our customer-led team-enabled approach to account-based marketing. You can see their contact information scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I want to thank our guests, Dominique and Kate, for being here today, certainly, and the great information that they're passing to you, our audience. And I thank you for being here, and stay tuned for part two. Thank you.
Thanks.